make a video on reasons why I think you should not move to Chicago. And I know y'all thinking that this is going to be about the violence, and no, we're not talking about that. You'll never, I mean, I'll talk about violence a little bit, but nah, I will not feed into that narrative. I'm going to hop right into it, and I have my notes here if I'm looking down. So the first reason why you shouldn't move to Chicago is if you are running from something. And not like running from someone, but like if you're feeling like, you know, you're stuck in a rut, or you're feeling like, you know, you're running from your problems and moving to a new city will help it, you shouldn't move to Chicago, because those problems that you have will just follow you. You have to tackle on those problems first, and then assess if you're ready to move to a new city and move from there. Don't move if you're running, because those problems are just gonna follow you. Next, I would say don't move to Chicago if you are not ready for the weather, if you're gonna complain about the weather, and if you're not ready for the weather. It gets cold here. Like, it definitely doesn't get as cold as it does like what up in Detroit or Minneapolis, or even like upstate New York, but it gets pretty cold here. It gets very cold here. It snows a lot. I mean, with global warming and all that other jazz, it hasn't been as cold in my opinion. Like, I just remember the winter that it was like -20, and that was insane. But other than that, it just snows a lot, and I think that's the thing I hate the most, is like cleaning snow off my car. So if you're not ready for those weather changes, and you're not ready to have all 4 seasons, maybe just 3, because sometimes fall is like a month or 2. If you're not ready for that, you're not ready for Chicago. Next, you should not move to Chicago if you can't afford it. And if you can't afford it, I feel like some people really just want to move because they want to experience a new city and they want to experience a new life. But that's also like running from your problems, because you can experience a new city and a new life where you are and not have to sacrifice your finances for it. So if you can't afford it, then you guys can go back and look at my like budget video on how I budget. But if you can't afford it, there's no reason to move to a new city just to be miserable financially. So if you can't afford Chicago, it's no point to move here. Next, and this one I was kind of iffy with when I was thinking about this, but I would say to not move to Chicago if you don't have a support system. And I know that some people move here for college, or they move here for a job. But if you move here for a job, that's your support system. Like, you have a job to fall back on. You have your work people to like offer you resources and offer you things. But like, if you move here and you know zip nada no one, and you're like literally starting fresh, and like maybe you work a remote job, or you just moved here, that kind of will be a really hard transition, versus like moving with a job, or moving with knowing friends, or moving and having like 1 or 2 family members. So I kind of toy with this idea, because while people do move places without support systems all the time, I think it's really hard on someone's mental, and it's really not that healthy. So I would say like try to get a job first, or try to like go back to school, go to grad school, or try to create a community, like meet people online, and like enter groups and things like that, so that you'll get to know people and meet people and have that support system here in Chicago. So next, I would say a reason not to move to Chicago is if you're not open to change. And that would be for any city, honestly. Chicago is a very different city, as all cities are. Like, I can't think of any city that I've been to that reminds me of another, other than like maybe London and New York. Like, they're similar in like their fashion and art scene, but like New York's dirty, London's clean. And yeah, so Chicago's different. The segregation is oftentimes a shock to people, because you'll be in your neighborhood and you'll see people who don't look like you, or you'll be in your neighborhood and you'll only see people that look like you. And so moving here blindly will oftentimes be kind of like a struggle for people. And I know that for people that I know personally who moved to cities that aren't really diverse, or that just aren't really diverse. So if you aren't open to change, then I would say Chicago is not the city for you. You have to have an open mind and be willing to put yourself out there and to learn and to grow. My next reason why you shouldn't move to Chicago is if you haven't done your research. This is self-explanatory. If you, I would hope everyone would do their research before they move anywhere. Like, even if it's a quick TikTok scroll, like, do your research so that you know some things, because yeah, you have to do your research on everything. If you don't do your research and you just move blindly, I don't see that going well. So if you haven't done your research, I would say Chicago is not the city for you. And then my last and final why you should not move to Chicago is if you are not prepared. And this goes back to why I didn't move to Texas, because I wasn't prepared. I was not prepared. And so if you haven't done your research, if you haven't tried to like create a support system via work or via friends or family, or even like reaching out to your extended network, then it's gonna just backfire, really. Like, if you haven't done your research on your apartment or your neighborhood, or if you can bring a car, if you should bring a car to where you're gonna live, or if you can have pets, or if you like the lake, or if you want your neighborhood to be closer to the lake or further away from the lake, or if your neighborhood is close to a highway or not. Like, if you haven't done your research, it's gonna like make things more miserable for you. So you definitely shouldn't move to Chicago if you're just not prepared at all and you just want change because you're running from something. So yes, that is it. Okay, so this is me editing, and my last little 2 cents, my little 2 piece that I want to add is that if you're scared, you shouldn't be moving. Like, I think it's okay to be nervous about a move, but like, if you're like scared to move to a city, any city like Chicago or any city, you really shouldn't be moving there. You should be confident in your move. And nervous, anxious, yeah, happy, but like, if you're scared, which those are different emotions, you shouldn't be moving. So that's my little 2 cents. I can make a video on why you should move to Chicago if you guys are interested in that. And I think I did with my pros and cons, but yeah, just don't do it if you're not prepared, if you're not open to change, if you're not, you know, ready to commit to a new city financially, and if you don't have a support system. Give yourself some time, be patient, and do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was super quick, very quick video, but I'll see you guys in my next video. As always, thank you guys for watching. See you soon.